Okay, welcome to Confessions of a Desi Drama Queen. Today, I'm interviewing Samreen Arshad. Samreen Arshad, founder and CEO of SamreensVanity. And I'm so excited to be here with you. We've been talking about this for about a year.
Yes.
And Miss Girl is so busy and I was back and forth, and now we're here and we're gonna talk all things about her brand. We're gonna talk about what she's doing now, where she started. We're gonna talk about things she's gone through in her personal life. And then we're gonna do a little lightning round for funsies.
Love that.
Okay, yeah. Let's get into it.
I'm sounding okay, right?
You sound amazing. You're giving Rani Mukherjee. Like, who doesn't want to sound like that? Who doesn't want to sound
like her? I was like, I just can't get over how raspy my voice is.
Yeah, just like disclaimer, Samreen's still
I'm just recovering. Yeah. I hurt my vocal cords. I went to a convention. I think I spoke to over 200 people in a day. And the third day, my voice was completely gone. So this is 12 days out.
12 days?
I know. It's crazy.
Are you resting it or like, but because I know you're busy, you're like.
No, we literally had to cancel more than half the meetings.
Oh my God.
I couldn't because I just couldn't talk. And the doctor was like, if you're not going to rest your voice, this is all you're going to. This is all I can do.
So doctor says rest your voice and you're like, let's do a podcast.
I know, of course. We have to get this in.
I appreciate you so much.
I'm so excited
That's so
to be
sweet.
here.
I'm so excited to have you here. I want to start with understanding, because I was like, I've used your products. I use your products. I've done things as a creator for your brand. Yeah. Like, it's so incredible seeing what you've done. And one of the reasons I was like, I need Samreen on this podcast is because you're a South Asian woman. You have a family. You have a personal life. I see it on your social media, and you're running around up and about, and you started an entire beauty brand. And I'm like, this isn't something that people see. This isn't something people do. And I'm like, how do we show other girls and other women that, look, someone did it. There's an example. And then I'm looking at your website and you're saying that you came here to a brand new country. Did you come from Pakistan?
Yeah, I moved here.
Came from Pakistan? Mm-hmm. Where in Pakistan are you from?
Karachi.
Oh my God, so is my husband. And he's like diehard Karachi.
I am Karachi. That's why my first product was Karachi Nights. I was like, I just wanted to give homage to my city, from where I come from. And once you're from Karachi, like, it's just a vibe.
Yeah, you guys have a different level of like pride.
The Vatavaran of Karachi is very different.
I haven't been since I was like a teenager. But my husband's like, we gotta go here, we gotta go there. He loves it. But you came from there to America. Mm-hmm. You came with like, nothing in your pocket almost. Mm-hmm. And you came here for college, and you're here now, where I'm seeing you in like your cute ass suit, traveling around the country, so many products, a whole brand. You're starting a new phase of your business. Yeah. So how do you get from, okay, I'm off the plane, straight off the plane, fresh off the boat in America, and this is my idea. This is where I really want to go in my life.
Yeah. I'm going to be turning 40. I always say that because I'm like, it really puts things in perspective. It's like, I came to the country 18 years ago, so I was 21 roughly. I'm not doing the math right, but somewhere around there. And I came here for college. I went to Michigan for business. Like every Desi person, my dad was like, go, and my dad has a business in the Middle East. Mm. So the plan was for me to come here, get a business degree, and then go back and join him.
Okay. So you didn't come here with parents?
No, I just came here as an international student. Okay. So I went through that whole route, when you go to college and like I went to Michigan, coming from Pakistan, it was like I had, you have an accent, your pronunciations are so different. So I still remember I was in my science class. Like I have a lot of fun memories, mm-hmm. which I think have built me to be the person I am. And at Michigan, your classes are like huge, mm-hmm. your core courses. So I think it was like a science class, I can't remember. And there was like 200 students in there. And then everybody has a mic to speak and whatever. And I had to say the word metabolism. You know where I'm going with this?
I'm dead because you're saying it's so American now. And I can imagine that you over time have been
and I said metabolism. Uh-huh. And it's just the English pronunciation. And that's what we learn in Pakistan. And I still remember, man, the whole class just started laughing. Because, today it sounds really mean, but to me at that time, I was like, oh, what did I say wrong? Yeah. So I just remember that completely changed things for me because I went home and I was like, you know what, my pronunciation is off and people don't take me seriously. Mm-hmm. And I started watching English movies and I started teaching myself the accent. And I think in a year or two, I was able to just develop. I'm not saying one accent is better than the other. I think your accent has a lot to do with where you come from and your identity. But being in a business school, I just feel I had to work on that to get where I wanted to see myself. So that was just
even at that time, like what you're saying is like, even at that time you were like, okay, but how am I going to be taken seriously? I see myself here in the future. Yeah. Like even at that time where other people, like when I was in college, I was worried about like boys and partying and like, you know, am I going to get my homework done tomorrow? And you're like, no, where do I see myself? Where do I want to go?
I mean, when you come as an immigrant, you come with, you know how hard you've worked to be in this spot. You don't take it lightly. Like getting the visa, I was rejected my visa one time. I reapplied my student visa, and then coming here and college is so expensive. And I had a lot of weight on me because I knew my father was paying for it. And I come from a well-to-do family, so I'm not going to paint like a picture like, oh my God, but still, no matter how well-to-do you are, it's very expensive.
It's very expensive, and no one gives you a roadmap to be like, this is how you do well here.
Yeah.
Like you had to figure a lot of the cultural stuff, language stuff. Like we're laughing a little bit now, but even my mom came here when she was so young, had us so young, went to high school here even, but even her, like she'll say October instead of October. And we're like, oh my God, that's so cute and funny. But like to see how much that she can speak so fluently, she's run businesses and you know, you're right that like even those little things, you don't want to be discredited in that way.
I mean, it's just like your language, everything, like, you know, because I didn't know how to cross the street. And I actually did a video on this on my Instagram because I was like, it's not like I was stupid, but in Karachi, Pakistan, we don't have streets like this. We don't cross a 4-lane in Oakbrook. And I remember, I think my sister lived in Oakbrook, and it was a 4-lane one way and then 4-lane the other way. And I was trying to get to a Target or something. And I would, you know, you would hit it, it would turn green. But by the time I'd be halfway, it would start blinking. And I was so scared. I was like, I would turn and come back.
Oh my God.
Right?
There's like the little nuances you don't even think of. The little things.
Yeah. And at that time, I remember I did that 2 to 3 times. And I didn't understand. And I just went back to my sister's place. And I was like, I don't know like how to cross the street. And it's not because like I was very privileged. It's just that we never had that back home, you know? So things like these, they really build your character, your resilience. Those little things
and play in different parts of your life.
You know, things like people who live here take it for granted.
Yeah. And then another thing, you're coming from Pakistan, from Karachi to Michigan, and you're dealing with like snowstorms.
Yes, I remember because I moved here in December.
Oh my God.
So my first semester, before I went to Michigan, I was in DePaul here because my sister lived here. It sucked. Like just taking the Amtrak in, I think it was Amtrak I used to take from the burbs to the city, and then like trying to get to school. And I would have like really bad snow reaction, like my whole face would swell up. There was like so much that happened at that time. And we can have like entire episode on that. But
okay,
I think
that'll be a different deep dive.
I know, but I always tell people, I'm like, a lot of people talk about, oh, my parents came here as immigrants and growing up in the US and I was bullied, this and that. I'm like, babe, I am the immigrant. I am the immigrant success story.
That's another part of the reason I want to sit with you, because you're saying you're turning 40, and we'll get to this later in the episode, but you're turning 40, and I'm like, I'm seeing you in a very different place in your life than what I've seen like our moms, my friends' moms, aunts, uncles. What that immigrant story is very different than yours. Not to say that other people haven't done that too, but like it's just different. We don't see that often. You know, it feels very much like you get to a certain age and you're like, okay, now I'm family. This is all I'm doing. But you're literally showing everyone there's a whole different door to open on that end.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what my path was, Sana. I didn't know what my path was. I came here as a business student. I knew when I'm done, I have to go back, right? But I don't know what I wanted. I just knew I wanted a lot more.
Okay, yeah. So take us back there. So you're in business school. At what point do you decide I want to start a beauty brand? Is that later on?
Oh gosh. I couldn't even afford a lipstick when I was here. I think I bought my first lipstick when I was 20 years old.
Oh my God. So makeup was like a later
totally, like
you.
It's so late. I mean, my journey, I graduated and I was supposed to go back, but I really wanted to have the internship experience. So I was very lucky. I landed in internship with automotive, you know, Detroit, of course, like automotive is big there. And I just wanted to do those 2 months or 3 months, whatever you get. I don't remember now. But at that time, I just remember I just wanted to gain experience. I didn't expect, this was like the worst time to be graduating.
Okay.
Because Wall Street crashed at that time in 2010.
Dude, odds were stacked against you.
Yeah, nobody was getting sponsorships to stay here. I think 80% of my class, international class, went back.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just had this thing in me. I have to stay here.
So it's like a gut intuition, like something's happening for me here. I need to stay.
No, it was just like, I want to stay here. I just love America. I just love the life here. My sisters were here and I didn't want to go back. And I was just too out there for a Pakistani girl in Pakistan. You know, I was too liberal. I was too outgoing. My family is very conservative.
Really?
Yeah, very conservative. I come from that's why I said I didn't own my first lipstick until I was 20 years old. Because in my family, girls didn't wear makeup.
Are your sisters conservative too?
One of my sisters is. Yeah, she's very religious. My parents are very religious. And it's just lovely how we all blend together. And everybody brings something different to the table. So we used to have this situation before where, you know, like I had to dress a certain way, I had to do things a certain way. But we all have come together to accept who we are.
That's really beautiful. I think that's hard to find in Desi families. Yes. The acceptance and like the lack of judgment when someone is different.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say we have I wouldn't say there's no judgment. I still think when you're religious, you feel you have to, you know, educate each other.
Yeah.
It's your job.
Yeah.
It's not your job to do that. I was like,
say it louder for the people.
I was like, it's not your job to educate. Exactly. I'm serious. So it took a while for us to be like, okay, you do you. Like, you know.
But you got there.
I got there.
And so, okay, so you're still here, you're doing your internship, and then where does your career take you?
So I'm doing my internship, I get sponsored, I get a full-time job, and I'm like having the most, and it was so sexy because I was in automotive, you know, I was, you know, just a young girl running a team with engineers and whatever, and I was never taken seriously. I was told not to dress a certain way. I was told, you know, I still remember there was this the head of accounting, I don't know what his name was. He was this Indian dude. And he interviewed me when I was getting the job. And he kept asking me these accounting questions. And I said to him, like 3 times I must have said, I was like, I am not an accounting major. I'm not here for an accounting job. And I think in the end he said, and I'll never forget this, he said to me, he's like, looks don't get you very far. I mean, I still remember that. He's like,
how do you even react to that?
I was very young. I didn't know how to react. I couldn't, I can't be like, oh, I answered him back. I didn't. I really wanted the job. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And, but that stayed with me. And after that I remember that changed my attitude so much. I just wanted to be intelligent. I wanted to know about automotive. I wanted to be a very strong, independent woman. And I think that really carved the path for me. Where I'm like, I won't take bullshit from anyone.
That built your resilience. Like whatever I do, I'm going to do it. Okay, so you built I'm not taking shit from anyone. No. I'm going to reach whatever goal it is I have for myself. You learn to believe in yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was, this is sad. I can say that today, I literally failed through math my whole life.
Didn't we all?
Right?
There's very few of us that did well.
I know, right?
Math and
like
science.
They expect you to be brown and you're really good at math. Yeah. I failed through. I must have cheated in college. I don't know how I got through Celsius. Oh, Celsius? Calculus.
No, I'm dead because I think that I was a bio major and I don't remember a single thing from my degree. I just was like, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm a bio major. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm a bio major.
Oh, good.
And not good. No. I didn't want to do that. I just was like, this is what I'm doing because I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Because you're told, like, if you're smart and your parents are like, you're so smart, you're so good at school. You're like, then I must become a doctor. What else is there to become?
That's right.
And my husband chose that path and I see him every day and I'm like, thank God. Thank God I didn't go down that road.
Either you have it or you don't.
Yeah, but this is another thing that it's like seeing women. I feel like I do this. I talk about like med school paths specifically a lot, but just that because it's what we're told for so long, this is the way to find success. And then you find people that are like just beyond that success in something that they're actually really passionate about too. And I'm sure people are passionate about medicine, but 90% of the cases we know that's not what happened. It's, you know what I mean?
I mean, I will say when I went to college, I really wanted to go in IO, which is Industrial Organizational Psychology. And it's the best, one of the best schools is Urbana-Champaign. And I wanted to come here from Michigan. And my father was like, absolutely not. He's like, no, it's a useless degree. Just get a business degree.
And not a lot of people knew a lot about that kind of, because I do something similar right now in my corporate job to that.
Okay.
But I feel like that wasn't like a very popular field at that time.
I don't know. I didn't know anyone who was in it. I didn't know anyone who did it. I just knew that I love business and I love psychology and I wanted to marry them together. And that's how I found IO. And I feel that would have come to me really like naturally, but I just got a business degree and I never went back to school.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but then, okay, so you start working your corporate job. And then at what point are you like, I'm starting my own business? And then what made you decide a beauty brand?
So beauty was like, nobody thought about that in my family. I didn't think about that family. I didn't think I can start a business. Like, you don't come from Pakistan, even though my dad is an entrepreneur. He's, you know, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Everyone in my family owns a business.
Okay.
You know, textiles or whatever, they own businesses, but the men did. The women, no woman is in business. Everyone has really good C-suite jobs, you know, in banking and wherever, but it was never the thought. So I am in automotive and doing really well. Now I'm 28 and everyone is like killing me. When will I get married? When will I get married? And I remember I was like, oh my God, you know, F it, I'm just gonna get married. Like it was like a chore. I'm like, fine, I'll just get married.
So it wasn't like it wasn't top of mind for you.
No, I knew I need to find somebody who I can be totally honest of who I am. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a conservative religious person. And I just knew I'm going to marry somebody who's like me. And I signed up on this online platform. I think it wasn't shadi.com. It was something like that. But it was.
And you never even think those are going to work like that.
And this is like 13 years ago. So at that time it was taking off. It wasn't taking off. It was something like people were, I don't know.
It was still like stigma around it.
Totally. My mother never told anybody. I met my husband on it because she was like, no, don't tell people. Don't say that. I'm like, but why? It's just like, you know, you're acting like I'm committing a crime. They're like, no, don't tell people. People judge. I'm like, okay. But I met my husband on there. We met and we just met each other on that platform and we were married 8 months later.
Is he from Chicago?
He's from Michigan.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's from Michigan, but he lived in Buffalo, New York at that time. He's a head and neck surgical oncologist.
Oh wow.
So in that time I was 27, right? I was like, oh my God, he's old. Because he's 7 years older than I am.
Oh, that's a good age gap. I wish I had a little more age.
But it just sounded like a lot to me.
Of course.
Because I was 27, he was 35. I'm like, oh my God, like he's old. But anyways, he was in Buffalo, New York. And at that time when we met, it just made sense for me to move there. I moved there and I was like kind of a little arrogant in my head that, you know, I have this great experience in sales and I'm going to land a job right away. I moved to Buffalo, New York, and I didn't realize it's a very small city.
I've never been.
It's a very small, non-diverse Republican city. It's not New York City. Very different. So I go there and I don't find a job that I want to wake up to.
How long, like so you're like 28, 29 at this point?
I'm 28 when I got married.
Okay.
Then I was like, you know what? I'm not finding a job. People are telling me go back to school, get a master's degree, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to school. I was like, nobody can pay me to go back to school.
That's your business.
I'm not a good student. I got in, I got out, I did it.
You're a student of life.
I did what I absolutely had to do. I am not going to put myself in that position again. So I was like, you know what? I should just have a baby. You know, I was like, you know, maybe that's what I should be doing right now. So I tried getting a job, didn't find a job. And then I was like, I'll just have a baby. So I had my son when I was 30. So I turned 30, I had him. And unfortunately what happened was I wasn't prepared for this. but I had a really, really bad case of postpartum depression. And this is like 10 years ago. And even though I was married to a physician, it was so hard for us to understand what was going on with me. I couldn't understand. It was like I was suffering so badly that I was suicidal, where I was like, everything just seemed dark. I was in a very dark space. And, nobody ever talks about it. So even though in that time, everybody was so hyper-focused on the baby that nobody talks about the woman. Mm-hmm. And I feel that is something I advocate for a lot, because I went through that. And even though I had the most supportive husband and he was in medicine, we really couldn't understand what was going on with me. I was like,
how did you find out? Like, at what point did you find out this is postpartum? Because I feel like if you're not even 10 years ago, I have friends who just 3 years ago had babies and are like, I'm having postpartum and no one told me about postpartum. Like, no one told me that this is something you can experience, and that they were realizing it after the fact. So you were dealing with this. You're not even understanding what's happening.
I don't think I really knew at that time. Mm. I just knew that everybody was like, Ayan, the baby, baby, baby. Women are treated as a vessel to deliver a baby. How often do you think people are concerned about the mother once the baby is born? You don't even ask if the mom is doing okay half the times,
Yeah, my niece comes over and my sister-in-law's like, everyone goes to her to give a hug. The mom's chopped liver. I'm
like, really, it is. And people don't understand that truly the baby is okay. Baby is being fed, diapers, whatever the baby needs. And that's it. What about the woman? The woman who is like an adult, has lived her entire life. She gets a new role. Her body just went through hell. Everything is just going back. Her brain is out of whack. Nobody's concerned about her, right? So I feel that I talk about it so often. When I hear somebody's having a baby or somebody's pregnant, I always talk to them like, take care of yourself. You are getting a second life. You are going to learn how to be a mom. You need to focus on yourself. People around you should be focused on you. I tell my friends' husbands or the man, I was like, focus on her, because this is when she needs you the most. But at that time, I had everything, but I still remember I would just sit and just stare at a wall and cry all day long, because I just couldn't understand. I was like, I can't even tell people, because people are going to be like, you're so unthankful. You just had a baby. You're married to a surgeon. What the hell is your problem?
Like, not only are you already dealing with it, then you're like, how do I even talk about this? No one's going to understand. You're also taking care of a baby. You're saying you're married to a surgeon, but that means like capacity for him to help you is very little.
Very little. And he tried, but he couldn't stay home. And my postpartum went for like over half a year. I was
going to ask you, how long did it?
Okay. It was over half a year until I found what helped me. But I didn't tell my sisters, who are my best friends. I didn't tell my parents. I couldn't tell anyone.
That's how you know it's like a really, like, it's a big dark thing that you go
through.
No
one
you can't
other than my husband knew what I was going through. And because I was so ashamed of it, I'm like, why am I crying? What's wrong with me? Like, I'm not taking a shower for a week. What's wrong with me? And like, it was just so bad. I still did not get medication. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was postpartum depression, and I think my son was 6 months old when YouTube videos were really taking off, like tutorials, right? So I don't remember the day, but I somehow stumbled upon influencers' YouTube video, makeup tutorials, right? And I just remember I spent hours just back to back watching videos. And what I didn't realize was that when I was watching those videos, I mean, I did realize it later, but in that moment, it did so much more for my soul than it did for my outer appearance. Like, I would just sit there and be mesmerized with the act of transformation.
Do you think it was something that you're like, I get to focus on something that's for me, that has nothing to do with this baby?
Possibly.
That is,
Possibly. I can't put a finger on it.
Yeah, but it helped you then.
Truly. I always say this, that's why I say makeup saved my life, because it really did save my life. I first used to watch the videos. amazed. Oh my God, how do these women do it? Didn't know a thing about makeup. Then came a phase when I started buying the makeup and copying the tutorials. And that's when I started teaching myself makeup. I didn't know anything.
I love this timeline because I feel like that's how, like, whether it was younger or older, this is how all of us got into, like, you know, totally. The YouTube, like, huge, like, boom happened. Yeah. And all of us are, like, fixated watching these videos. Like, this is insane. This is amazing. This is amazing. Like, all the eye looks, everything. And then you go through the phase of, like, let me start buying this stuff. Yeah. Let me start trying
You're
this
like, oh,
stuff.
I've always had that problem. I didn't know you use that. Let me buy that. Yeah. So, I mean, your generation is obviously... you guys are kind of growing up with social media.
100%.
I didn't grow up with social media, right? But when YouTube happened, I knew I need to be surrounded by makeup. I just knew it. And the first thing that came to my mind is, if you love makeup, you should be a makeup artist, right? So Ayan, my son, I think he was 8 months or 10 months old. And I was like, I just need to learn makeup. So we lived in Buffalo, New York. So the closest thing to us was Toronto. I could drive there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to enroll into a makeup certification and become a makeup artist, right? Because at that time, I was very like matter of fact. I've always wanted to do things properly the way they should be done. So social media was not an option. Influencing was not an option at that point for me.
So this is like pre all that. This is pre-Instagram popping off and everything.
Yes. Okay. Instagram was, I remember, what was it? Amrezy. I'm from that era. Amrezy, Desi Perkins. They were just starting their Instagram tutorials. So I went there. I used to drive there Monday morning. I used to leave at 4 o'clock. I used to stay there Monday to Friday. And I used to leave Friday, I think like in the afternoon. Because my goal was to do 3 bedtime routines with my son. And that's all I cared about. So I would leave Monday morning and come back Friday evening. So I used to get Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, bedtime routine.
Then you would go back.
And then I would go back. And I
did that. How long were you doing that?
4 months. I did that for 4 months.
Also, I just want to point out that, like, I feel like in the phase of everybody else watching these tutorials, your mind was already like, no, I can be this person already. I feel like it takes a lot longer for a lot of people to be like, oh, I can see myself in that position. You're the consumer first. And you were already like, no, I can be the person that's doing this too.
I guess so, because at that time, you didn't think of it as a career. And for me, I was just trying to find something that was mine, right? And I think that's what I got out of the postpartum depression. I just wanted something that was my own. I didn't want to be a surgeon's wife. I was always looked at as a surgeon's wife, right?
Which is crazy, because I know you, like, I just know you as you and through social media. I didn't know that you were married to. And I'm relating it because I'm with someone who's in medicine. But I'm like, that's so crazy that at that time, that's what you were associated as.
Yes. And for me, anything I did was like, oh, she's just doing it for fun. So even makeup was a little taboo thing. I still remember my father saying to me, because he's a very successful entrepreneur, like businessman. And he said to me, I'll never forget, he's like, he said in Urdu, but he was like, we sent you to such a great school so you can become a makeup artist.
There's a lot of, it was not taken
it was like a stigma. There's like, makeup lady or makeup artist. It was like, you're married to this guy. What are you going to do? Like, just enjoy your life. Have lots of kids, take care of your kids. But I just feel, for me, I was never that person. I was never that person. I had to be someone, but I didn't know who I'm going to be. So I became a makeup artist, and I hated it. I absolutely hated every minute of it. I was making really good money.
Because the story leading up, that's not where I thought you were.
Yeah, no, exactly,
that's
right?
Hilarious. Okay.
I was like, there's just no creativity. Because they would bring me my last bride's picture and be like, do this. Basic bridal looks again and again. In the beginning, my brides, because I had such an out-of-box thought or mindset that my brides were like, this is too much. So in my first 2 brides, I'll never forget, they rejected me after the trial. They didn't want to work with me. I was very heartbroken. But then I think I worked so hard, and, a year later, I was booking a year out.
Oh my God, look at that.
I was, yeah. But I always say this, I'm like, my first 2 brides rejected me. They're like, we look cartoonish. What the hell is this?
Yeah, those rejections are hard, dude.
It's hard.
But you like, and then for you, you're like, the sacrifice you gave for those few months to do this, and then now you're putting yourself out there in the world. There's already so much, like, not against you in a dramatic way, but just already so much kind of against you in your head too, I'm sure. And then you're like, okay, these 2 aren't panning out. But then your success blew up so quick after that.
No, it did not. Because I firstly, people thought I was doing it for fun.
Yeah.
And then when people realized how much time and energy I was putting into this, it started being into, you're so lucky your husband lets you do this.
Lets you. I'm dead.
Yes. And you'll be surprised that till today, people, modern women, my age, or like just very modern, it doesn't have to be like brown women from every race have said this to me. You're so lucky your husband lets you do this.
But is your husband not lucky that you're the mom, that you have started a business, that you're like, oh my God,
I've said this so many times. I'm like, nobody asks him when he goes to work that you're so lucky your wife takes care of everything so you can come here and do this. No one ever asks a man. It's always the woman who's lucky because the man lets him do this. And I think that was my trigger. Oh my God. Like,
because you can wear 100 hats in a day, but he's
you know, your house is run on time, your laundry is done, your groceries are done, your child is taken care of. You have a social standing because of your wife who does everything, shops for you.
The list goes on.
The list goes on. And you will know it. Like this is what it takes. But I will say that I was very fortunate that my husband always said that. He's like, I could have never done what I do if she was not taking care of everything else.
As long as he knows it. I mean, I wish people knew it too.
Yeah.
Like people understood that too, but he knows it, then that's like, okay.
He does know it. And I'm very grateful for that. But if he didn't know it, I don't know where my life would have been. But I always say this, I'm like, always find a person who treats you as an equal.
Oh my God, 100%.
As an equal. You're not like the wife role is so, I don't know. And it's not just it's not our culture. Sana, I see it in Caucasians. I see in African Americans, Latinas, like minorities, every time it's a woman who has to wear different hats.
Yeah, I think that's across everyone. Yeah. 100%. And also he's a little bit older than you. So I feel like for him to be able to recognize that and be like, this is my partner in life, like I do give him some credit for that because, and I mean, obviously you did that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's hard, especially with that dynamic, with someone being a little bit older than you.
I guess so. He was always very mature for me. I was like this fun part of the life. But I think over the years it changed and he taught me a lot of things. I'll never forget, because I come from such a conservative family and it was like, my family was I always saw my mom taking permission from my dad. I always saw my sisters taking permission from their husbands. And I don't even know what permission means today, but it was always like, I have to ask him, right?
Did they have to ask?
It's never like I have to tell him.
No, did the guy have to ask?
No, of course not, right? But that's what I saw. And then when I got married, I still remember I would ask him, I was like, I'm thinking I should go to mommy's house. What do you think? And I should go visit mommy. What do you think? Or I should go visit my sisters. What do you think? And I remember, I think a month or two, he was like, you need to make your own decisions. He's like, you don't need to ask me. He's like, you don't need my permission, Samreen. Do what you think is right. And I still remember that moment where I was standing, I was like, wow, nobody's ever said that to me, that I should know what I want to do. I don't know. You tell me. And that really changed. He jokes about it. He's like, now we've gone too far with this. My family jokes about it. They're like they're like, Hassan, what have you raised? They're like, what did you make her into? And he's like, I know. I was like, now it's like out of my control. He's like, I don't know half the times. We have a shared family calendar. And before it used to be, I used to have to ask him, like, when call schedule, whatever. Now it's the opposite. Now he has to ask me.
I love that.
So we have a family calendar where he has to check if I'm in town, I'm not in town. I still run the house. I still take care of my kid.
How do you do that? How do you run the house Because you're in and out, and like when we were texting even to get this scheduled, you were like, I'm up at 5 a.m. I can be, and I was like,
I can be there at 7.
How do you, how? I was like, I have to ask her this. How do you manage taking care of things at home, taking care of your son, like the life that you balance? How do you manage that with your business?
There are only 2 things I take care of, my business and my child.
Oh, only.
No, I'm just saying those 2 are a priority. And I love it because I always say that it's not my son's fault that I chose this path. You know, I decided to bring him in this world, and I have to give him the very, very best.
Which to credit you on that too, just like small interactions we've had before now, even me like talking to you about timing for this, you were like, this is my son's time. Like past this time is my son's time.
I was like, I don't schedule things past 3 p.m. because he's home, which is why I wake up at 5. I get my workout in, I start my day. I just want to be home. And he is so used to that when I'm not home, he's like, where are you? He doesn't even understand that mom's running a multi-million-dollar company. To him, I'm just his mom. And I always want to stay his mom. That's it.
Wow. So your time with it, like this is consistent. You're like, this is my time with him.
Yeah. Consistent. Like I still remember I was giving a talk in New York. I was part of a panel and my phone was blowing up and I was looking at it and I knew it was my son. If my son calls, I will stop everything and take the call, right? So he has an iPad and he was blowing up my phone because we ran out of Fruit Loops. and we have a nanny for him who kind of runs my life and my house for me. And she's always there. She does everything, but I have to tell her. So he's like, Mommy, we're out of cereal. Can we get Fruit Loops? Can we do this? Can I get some snacks? And I'm like, okay, I let Patty know.
And this is a crisis in like, he's like 10?
Of course.
Yeah, this is like a crisis. Like I need to figure this out.
Oh my God, like snacks are everything. He's a boy, like snacks are everything in our house. So I never want to lose that connection with my son. I never want to be too busy for him, but that's a priority I make. So half the times I'm like literally rushing from LA. I'll take a red eye. So I'm here or because I want to take him to school in the morning, you know? So these are things as a mom I do, but not that because I'm supposed to, it's because I want to.
Do you what is sacrifice when you're having to do that? Is your sleep sacrificed? Is your...
You hear my voice, guys? It is literally like, so I went to LA. We just launched our pre-seed fundraising round, right? In LA.
You need to tell us about, because I'm not a business major. I know nothing business. And I'm like, this is freaking amazing. I've seen you.
And I already said that I have failed through math my whole life. So we will get to that. I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing it. But I took him with me because I took Ayan with me because I really wanted him to see me on stage and understand that when I travel, what am I actually doing? Because he doesn't understand what I do, right? Daddy's a surgeon. He wants to be a surgeon. I love it. But he doesn't understand what mom does. So he was sitting he knows I have a cosmetic company.
No. But like, that's so cool for him to get to see you and for you to see him and be like.
I'm telling you, I was so nervous going on the stage. I do this in my sleep. I'm not somebody who gets stressed or worried, but because he was in the audience, I can't tell you how stressed I was.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
And he was screaming, Mommy, Mommy, like when they announced my name, and it just like, that was everything. So for me to be up there and for him to see like how valuable I am to the work I do, I think it just made it for me.
You're raising a son, and I think that's a hard ass thing to do. As a Desi woman, you're running a business, but you're raising a son to see you in positions that he gets to see you in a light that you're so passionate about and you're so happy doing. Yeah. In addition to being his mom, right? Like that's another role in your life. But like how cool for him to understand that as he gets older, as he raises kids, as he gets married, that this is how I was raised.
I think it's very important. When you see all these grown-ass men who are like babies, I'm like, it's the mom's fault. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. And I am a boy mom, so I can say this, okay?
I don't have a kid yet.
There was a time when people were like, oh, when you'll have your kids, you'll know it. I'm like, I have a kid. And I'm telling you.
You're like, I have the credentials to talk about.
I was like, I have the credentials and I have my platform to tell you it's a mom's fault. Like we have chores for him at home. He has been bringing me coffee to bed, since he was 5 years old. You know, I taught him how to make coffee in Keurig, and he's been doing it since he was 5. And I love it. And now for him, it's like, if I'm not feeling well, he's going to make a tray. He'll bring it to me. I will say he's never seen his father do that because my poor husband, he's so busy. He's never around. But he's, you know, I taught him. And for him, he's like, what can I do for you? Like, you know, nothing is like a boy or a girl task in our house. Everybody does everything.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. Everybody does everything. Because this is our home. So we do things just like daddy goes to work out, mommy goes to work out too. So he understands the importance of my career as he does his father's career.
So he sees your careers as equal, as he should. But I feel like that's a great point to make, because I could imagine married to someone who is a surgeon that like, I'm thinking that you would have to explain or like almost prove that, no, but my career, I'm your mom, but this is also my career. But you've already instilled that in him. He sees the priority and he sees the value, not the priority, in both your careers as equal.
It was a journey. I'm not gonna lie. It took a while for him, and we have actively worked on it because I don't know, sometimes he tells people I was a mechanic because I worked in automotive. The other day he went to a friend's house and he said, my dad's a surgeon. My mom used to be a mechanic. Now she does makeup. And I'm like, no, let's go back.
You're like,
nothing wrong being a mechanic.
No, I mean, know, but it's just
they need a degree to do that. But I just feel like it was a process to make him understand that what mommy does is equally important, and she's successful, and like she brings, I don't know, like she's just successful at what she does. And I think it's very important for us to teach that to our kids. Girls too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, we're focusing so much on boys. If I had a girl, I would have a different responsibility. I would have to show her how a woman should be, how she should be treated, how she should carry herself. I would have a totally different set of priorities.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.